Hello, my name is Samantha Ravy and I will be giving my speech on texting and driving. As teenagers and young adults, sometimes we think we are invincible. We let ourselves believe the thought that nothing bad will ever happen to me, and I'm not stupid, I know what I'm doing. The harsh reality is that we are vulnerable. Terrible consequences do happen and can occur at any time. One of the risks that drivers take daily is texting and driving. People who take this risk are 23 times more likely to get in a car crash. This is significantly higher than dialing and talking, which are 2.8 times and 1.3 times more likely than if they weren't on their cell phones. I'm not saying that people don't value their lives, but maybe it's because they don't know the statistics to texting and driving, according to textinganddrivingsafely.com. Let me break it down for you and tell you how it is about texting and driving and how bad it is. 3 years ago, 23% of all automobile crashes were because of texting and driving. They all involve cell phones. If you do the math, that's 1.3 million car crashes. In just 2011, 13 of the 23% admitted to using their phones at the time. The other 10% were accused. Here's a scary thought for you. If you're going 55 miles an hour, you've gone at least the length of 3 football fields in 5 seconds. It only takes an instant to cross over that center line and strike another car, however. The poll conducted by the site showed that 82% of teens admitted they used their cell phones while driving at some point in time. 32% were texting and 52% held a call. I don't know about you, but that scares me that 1 out of 3 cars I pass is probably texting. 77% of people texting are confident in their multitasking abilities and think they can safely text while driving. Isn't that so nice of them to take that risk with your life? 55% it's easy to text and drive. It's also easy to lose control and crash instantly. Here's an image for you. As you're driving and looking down at your phone for every 10 seconds you're texting, you're spending 1 second in the other person's lane. That one life-changing second could probably kill you. If you're lucky, it won't kill you, but just injure you severely, leaving you in a wheelchair or without a limb. Or maybe you got lucky and you didn't have any injuries other than a few scratches and bruises, but the oncoming car did. You crossed that center line and you crashed into a mother driving her kids home from school. You are now facing a life in prison because you killed 4 people. Let that sink in. This is why it's illegal to text and drive in many states, including Minnesota. The drivers who are under 18 aren't even allowed to use their cell phones while driving in the state. Laws seem to have no effect on that matter, though. When surveyed in states where texting and driving was illegal, 39 still texted and drove. In the places where it wasn't banned, 44% admitted to texting and driving. There's a good reason why it's illegal. Just like the facts given previously, News Today and USA Today did their own study on that was a little bit more frightening. The 2 sites have shown that texting while driving is now the leading cause of death for teen drivers. The leading cause of death. It has become a greater hazard than drinking and driving. Texting can and is just as impairing as drinking and driving. I find it crazy how kids nowadays are smarter than back then not to drink and drive, but they can't realize that texting is just as bad. Remember the statistic I gave you about texting and driving and how it causes 23% of all automobile crashes? 3,000 of those drivers are killed of that 23, and 300,000 are injured. This starts at a young age. Brand new drivers at the age of 15 have admitted to texting and driving. Their percentage is at 24%. That's only half the percentage of the 18-year-olds. 58% of 18-year-olds have admitted to texting while driving. 40% of who admitted to it also admitted they weren't wearing their seatbelts. Teenagers who texted and drove tended to perform in other dangerous activities. These included binge drinking, tobacco and marijuana use, and indoor tanning. Young people aren't the only culprits, though. Most of the kids saw their parents doing it, and right now, at this very second, there are 100,000 drivers texting while driving and 600,000 on their phones or surfing the web. Parents need to lead by example, or they may up like Mariah West's mother. Mariah West was a senior at a school in Arkansas. It was the day before her high school graduation, and she was on her way to watch a baseball game. She chose to text and drive that day, and within seconds, Mariah went into the ditch, crossed over the lane, and crashed into a bridge. She was thrown from her car that totally distorted her face and body. Instead of hosting a graduation party, her mother was left to hold a funeral. Mariah's mom is now spreading the word and trying to get people to just put the phone down and realize that there's more important things in life than whatever text message you have to say. Another story of texting and driving occurred on February 20th, 2010. Ashley Zumbronen was a wife who just wanted to say I love you that morning to her husband. Before she could hit the send button, she was flipping through the air in her car. She could feel her body flying. When she landed, she knew that she was paralyzed. When help arrived, she shouted. She was shouting, I can't feel my legs. Ashley had broken her neck and her back. She was paralyzed from the waist down. Ashley had to totally relearn her life. She can't walk, she can't play with her daughter, she has to use diapers now. Not only does she have to deal with that, but her husband left her. And her daughter doesn't like to play with her anymore because she likes to play with the other mommies who can walk around on the playground. The part that kills her is when people ask, how did this happen to you? She has to embarrassingly admit that she was texting while driving. And that's how she lost the use of her legs. This topic really hits home for me. I know how being distracted for 1 second can literally make a life-changing difference. It was my sophomore year, 2 weeks after I got my license. The night before it had rained and the roads were slick. My sister and I were on our way to school and I was heading east on Highway 67. I could see in my rearview mirror that a girl who lived in town was fastly approaching behind me. My steering wheel was positioned just over the speedometer numbers when I checked to see how fast I was going. She was then passing me, and before I knew it, my wheels were catching the gravel on the right side. I overcorrected and slammed into the passing car, sending both of our vehicles into chaos. Her vehicle went on 2 wheels, then into the ditch. Mine did a 180, slammed into her car again, and did a 360 the other way. I could see my life flash before my eyes, just like they say happens in a movie. I remember the screaming coming from my sister. Then once all the spinning stopped, I'm sitting there shaking, holding the steering wheel, and then my arms fell to my side. In a trembling voice I asked, is this real? Well, of course it's real, replied my sister. Then I went into a panic, wondering if the other car was okay. They were, luckily, but they both had concussions. God knows we must have had guardian angels watching over us that day. I ended up almost killing 3 people and totaling both of our cars. I never again want to see the panic in my mother's eyes when she arrived to the scene that had 3 police vehicles, lights flashing. Nor do I ever want to see someone else's mother hugging her babies because they almost lost their lives because of me. It was only a split second that it took to change everything. I wasn't given a ticket by the trooper that day because apparently I had been through enough. But just to think, what if I had been texting and driving that day? What if I didn't put my phone down? I would have probably been charged with attempted murder or manslaughter or reckless driving. I've taken so much more caution after that. The thought about that accident doesn't stop there though. I drive by the site where it happens daily. It's a constant reminder of how quickly things can change. Just like texting and driving incidents, it haunts me every day, and I would never wish that upon anyone ever. If you are someone who texts and drives, I hope that you really think about what I have said and put an end to this careless act. Life is precious. It can be taken away at any second. Why lose it because of some stupid text message you just had to send? It can honestly wait. And if you're wondering what you can do about it, take the pledge at www.drivingsafely.com. Don't be another statistic. Thank you.